That is the question. Coin toss, because it started from there. How to do coin toss over telephone? It's not so easy, because you know that the one captain calls up the other captain and then says that let us do a coin toss over telephone, and nobody trusts each other. And that is a very typical example of a decentralized system where a process has to be executed in a secure and in a manner where no party can actually disrupt, sabotage the system. And important thing is that, why do I say coin toss over telephone? The reason is that coin toss right in the middle of the playground is easy because there is a centralized guy called umpire who takes care of that, whether the coin toss process is actually executed honestly. But when you do it on the telephone, that umpire is missing. The umpire is missing, and this is actually a typical example of a peer-to-peer or decentralized, whatever you call it, same thing. The reason is that there is no one whom you can trust here. And now these two parties are adversaries, two captains. It's an Indian captain, I mean, Mr. Virat Kohli, and there is some other captain. So they're adversaries. And it turned out to be a very difficult problem to solve, bring trust in a platform where there is no third-party trust. I think that I don't want to go into the technicality of that, but think of that, go back home and think about this, that how to actually solve your coin toss problem over telephone, and then you will be able to actually have an idea. Okay, just a second, let me see. Okay, yeah, so this, okay. Okay, so there is a cryptographic, we already have a good cryptographic techniques to actually solve it. And cryptography itself is a very special and very interesting subject in its own right, and mathematically, mathematically quite difficult in some sense. So we have a cryptography. Cryptography was discovered long time ago, and cryptography solved a lot of problems. It is a decentralized. Now question is that cryptography did not solve a problem. I think that one lady has already talked about something called transparency, and that's an important thing. You know, I would like to claim one thing, probably it would be surprising, but you will see that blockchain does not provide what we call the security. What blockchain provides, because security is already there using cryptography. Cryptography is embedded in the blockchain. So the complete security, like authentication, confidentiality, integrity, all these security properties are provided by cryptography, which we already knew before 2009. It is not. But cryptography could not achieve one thing. I think probably the term I am going to use very much closely resembles with the term transparency, and I call it in a different way, that is technically, that is called fairness. The fairness means, fairness does not mean security. Confidentiality, authentication are all achieved through cryptographic algorithms, which is already there. It is not a discovery. But what is not there is called the fairness. So what is the fairness? The fairness is, suppose two persons are actually tossing a coin over telephone, and what happens is that nobody knows the other person's, the value other person gets, but it is possible that this guy comes to know that he is a loser. This guy comes to know that he is a loser, and what he does, he completely aborts the protocol. I don't know whether it makes sense or not. Suppose they are all exchanging various information, and this guy in a multi-party protocol, in a two-party decentralized protocol, the final outcome of the toss cannot be announced in the bulletin board. Cannot be announced because there is no centralized person. So the winner of the toss must be known by one person. And if this guy finds he cannot change the winner, but he can actually know the winner. So if this guy knows it, so what he will do, he will disrupt it. And disrupt means if I lose, I will not allow the game to go on. If I win, I will only allow. That is called the fairness. So blockchain actually brings fairness onto the table. Security, it does not bring. It is there. It is there, it uses it. It does not lose it. It retains the security properties, but it adds. So this fairness is the magic. This is the magic part of any blockchain. Okay. Okay, what are we overlooking? Okay, all right. Anyway, so in my slide, coin toss over telephone, I have not talked about blockchain. I only say that cryptography brought security, but it is unable to bring fairness into the system. Because any system, when the parties are involved, it has to be fair. Otherwise, you don't generate any trust onto this. I don't generate any trust onto this. So if you do not have a trust, it cannot be commercially viable. If it is not commercially viable, if there are not venture capitalists injecting money into your blockchain project, trust me that no matter how much you teach in the class, the technology will be obsolete, out of date. It will be, you will be done away with it. So you need any technology to survive. It had to be commercially successful and I mean, there are people who will be willing to actually do business with this one. And you can only do business with something has to be excellent. It has to be the most exquisite part of exclusiveness or the excellent technology only survives. Okay. So now I cannot do coin toss the fairness in this. So what is we are missing here? So exactly what I'm trying to say. So in a secure system that is provided by cryptography or various other technologies, we are missing something. So what is the thing we are missing? So now I'm going to give you some pictures. So what is written here is, you see that there are two persons that are very angry at each other. And you can see there's two pictures on the left and right. Both are actually kind of at war with each other. We call one thing dispute, one thing disagreement. Okay, so this is, and then move. And now you can see conflict. There is a judge, you can see, and there are two parties. Maybe the two lawyers or two attorneys are actually fighting each other. There's a quarrel. And there are, you can always say that your boss is very autocratic and he is not actually including you in decision making and stuff like this. And also the buyer, okay, I know that red tapeism is, you have asked for holiday and the boss says, well, this has to be actually, I need 4,000 signatures before your 1 day's casual leave will be granted. I mean, I'm just exaggerating to make a point. Of course, it doesn't happen. But red tapeism means that small work needs to be done by a lot of verifications that will be needed. Your pay scale, how many holidays. So these are red tapeism. Okay. So now I again go back to this thing. I mean, if anybody wants to say something, please switch on your mic and say, or otherwise you turn off your mic. But you can actually, if you have a question, then you can turn on and then ask me questions. I will be willing to accept questions as well. Any questions? Okay. Can I have the mic turned off because there's a noise? Yeah. Dispute, disagreement, conflict, quarrel. These are all very part of our business transactions. You wish there were no quarrel. You wish there were no conflict, but it never happens. It is just very normal part of it. So you cannot think that you cannot wish these things are not there. These are there and this will remain so. It would never go away. When there is a boss, there are employees, there will be always a conflict because they have two different interests. Bias has to be there. The perception. Any question? Kindly, can everybody mute their mic? If you do not have any questions, kindly mute the mic. Yes, thank you. Okay. Yeah. So now, I think these problems are there. What is missing then in the business ecosystem is a fair dispute resolution mechanism. Can I have the mic turned off? Yes. Yeah, please turn off your mic if you do not want to have any questions on that, because it's quite a bit of noise on my side. Thank you. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now, okay, this is the screen. Okay. So what is missing is that a fair dispute resolution mechanism, and that is where the devil lies. That is where devil lies, that we did not have a dispute resolution mechanism. So all the answers that you have given, what blockchain brings, you can now compare it with what my take on the issue is, that blockchain is the platform that with which we are now able to resolve disputes. Can I have can everybody please turn off their mic? Mr. Sridhar HS, can you turn off your mic? And Chandrasekhar, Srikant, Nihar, Prashant, please turn off your mic. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, Prashant, yeah. Okay, good. All of you, please just take a pause and please turn off your mic. If you have a question, turn on. Say the question. Sudhakar. Okay. So this is the property that blockchain brings. Okay. So now all the properties that I have said, this red tapeism, bias, autocracy, conflict, quarrel, dispute, disagreement. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So these properties, this autocracy, all these things. So doesn't it look like that it is a very social problem? Doesn't it look this proper? If you want to solve the personal bias, if I want to solve the autocratic nature of your boss, if I want to solve the conflict between two people who always quarrel with each other, doesn't it look like a very social and political issue than a technological one that we are used to solving? So that is where the magic is. Now, if you can have a fair dispute resolution mechanism where you can actually solve social political issue based on a completely technological platform, I think nothing more magical than this thing. So that is where the magic lies about that. So now you want to
16,000 नोट कोई वर्ल्ड के फास्टेस्ट सुपर कंप्यूटर हाँ 462 16,336 वर्ल्ड के फास्टेस्ट सुपर कंप्यूटर चाइना टीटा नाम उसका टीटा वो फास्टेस्ट हर साल चेंज होता है इसमें 462 है दिल्ली में 422 है
can everybody please mute their mic?
वही सोचा 16,000 कुछ ज्यादा बड़ा नहीं लग रहा है बोलते हो सोचा
हाँ नितिन
16,000 टीटा के पास वो वर्ल्ड का फास्टेस्ट
No, actually, I am
basically gray.
I'll call you maybe until the 2 p.m. Can I call? It is very urgent. हाँ. All right. Yeah. So this is a business-friendly climate. What you see. That is trust, fairness, transparency, democratic principles, and this is actually what we need in a business. That is teamwork, business, despite. So you have to create your own business platform not without bias, conflict. It will be there. But what you have to do, despite bias, despite conflict, despite personal interests, you have to create a business-friendly atmosphere. That is where the main magic of blockchain is. Okay, this is the one.
Bengali है
Okay. Yeah, now I think that everybody is locked. Yeah. Okay, so this is the one. So now, but how to improve these abstract properties, right? You remember the properties I just talked about. These are the properties, the trust, fairness, transparency. Exactly, the transparency was a word that is absolutely spot on. Transparency, democratic principles. So these are the properties you bring into your business platform. So these are very abstract properties at the very outset or at the surface of it. So we need some magic actually to solve these social and political problems and these abstract properties. Okay. So then in November 1, 2008, that is actually Indian time, about midnight. So there's a guy who posted a small article, small note in a mailing list with a lot of people at that time. 2008, go back 13 years, a lot of people. I mean, you know how younger you were in 2008. So that something happened in 12:30, 40 minutes past 12 midnight. Somebody has actually put up a note. This is the exact note this guy has put up. I have been working on a new electronic cash system that's fully peer-to-peer with no trusted third party. These are very, matter-of-fact business person-like line, without almost devoid of any excitement, or emotion that he wrote, and that is in 2008. And you know the name of, and he wrote, the paper is available. I have never seen such a, the way of objectively somebody just put out his own note. The main properties, this, given a very executive summary of that. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, and then abstract. That's all. And he signed off as Satoshi Nakamoto. That is 1240, November 1, 2008. I think that nobody knew that what an incredible bomb he has actually put out at that time, almost silently. A lot of people, in cypherpunk mailing list, messages come every few minutes. So this is one of those messages. So nobody knew. So in a manner that cannot be more no nonsense, in a manner which is extraordinary no nonsense and business like, he put up online, I have been working on a thing, and this is the one. That is all the journey started. All these things we have been kind of talking about, the journey started like this. And that is the paper that he has, the link refers to this paper, Satoshi Nakamoto, Satoshi N, GMX, this, and the paper, and that is the one. This paper, I mean, hundreds of papers are posted, this cypherpunk mailing list. So 11, I think this 12 years down the line, apparently it looked like that it almost, can be compared with the first flight that was made in 1933, and the aviation sector was, started off, or the wireless communication was started, something like this. So it was such an impactful one. So almost historically it can be compared with the first flight, what Satoshi Nakamoto did in 2008, November. And what he did is actually, if I want to describe it in this way, that he wanted to create an internet money using computer programs. So that is what exactly he wanted to do, to create an internet money. And thus he has completely changed the way we look at, communications. Okay, so I think that, yeah. So now I'll come back to the blockchain, how exactly blockchain works, maybe in a minute. But what I want to say is that, so this blockchain, which is the underlying technology behind all cryptocurrencies and various other applications, the use cases of blockchain people found later on as well, like land record management, insurance, stock, various other things. All this energy trading that we'll be talking about in the later half is also one blockchain application. So underlying the technology is called blockchain, and Bitcoin, which is just one of the 1,000 applications that can be built on blockchain technology. Okay, so now you can see that all these protocols are actually the thing that it is based on is called this dispute resolution mechanism. That is what it brings. So now you can see that what great problem you can solve. So blockchain creates magic by reconciling conflicting security properties, public yet trusted. So that is the thing that was not there until 2008. Can you trust a public platform? I want to always say, analogously, I want to say that if you cannot understand the magic of a technology, you cannot sustain the interest in this technology. So usually I say that think of the public lavatory people use in India. And undoubtedly that is the one which is one of the dirtiest people can think. The public, lavatory or water closet that you see. But can you think of a public lavatory or water closet, or that is the cleanest of all? So these two things are never go hand in hand. If we can have a system where, these two things work together, the cleanest and which is also public, is actually a magic. So blockchain has created this magic, that it has created a platform which is public, and it is the most trusted rather than the centralized one. Because centralized one, after all your trust is has a single point failure, if you, that guy whom you trusted, for example, Google email server, everybody knows that if Google wants, they can read all our emails because we trust them. But can we have a trusted yet public? So blockchain has, this is the magic that blockchain creates, that it is public yet trusted. And once you have this property coming, you can solve various business problems such as supply chain. Let's not go into that. The supply chain problems. And that is what I wanted to say. So, okay, now the next half an hour, I want to go slightly technical and talk what are the blockchain components. This is the prelude that what exactly great thing that blockchain has achieved. So I have 2-3 minutes. Any questions onto this? Because I will, on the next half an hour, I will talk about completely like a classroom way we teach blockchain. Any questions? You can turn on your mic and then say, or you can write it in the chat as well. Let me see the chat box now. Yes. Anybody wants to comment on that? Until that is what the motivation for blockchain. Dispute resolution mechanism, public yet trusted platform. Then I will go into the technology, sheer computer science or information theoretic structure of this one. Any questions until now? Can you just anyone turn on your mic and then ask question or write in the chat box? Or everybody is asleep? There used to be a lot of noise earlier, but there is no noise and looks like a very silence of a graveyard kind of a thing. Can I have some questions? Can I ask the administrators to just allow them to turn on their mic and if they have any question? It is also possible to write it in the chat box so that I know that this is the main problem of teaching something online and offline, because you do not get the reaction. Anybody wants to have any question? And I'm pretty sure that a lot of the audience is very, very informed and aware of this. Okay, I have some questions, I think. Okay. Sir, Bala Kumar, let me see. Okay, for me, no. Okay. Tejasvi Rastogi, sir, what do you think crypto will take over paper money? Okay, very good question. That question has, that is for the, why blockchain is very interesting to me, because it is not just very dry technological venture. It is economics. So whether the crypto will take over paper money, I think that I am certainly not wise enough or knowledgeable enough to make a comment on that, because it is very much related to finances, and they are the prime movers. I am just a technologist, a mere teacher who teaches cryptography and blockchain and various security. But whether crypto will actually overtake paper money and become a mainstream, I cannot have any comment on that. It's a tough question to ask. I never realized that blockchain would become mainstream ever. In 2014, when I started learning cryptography or blockchain, so I do not. Okay, but I believe it would, because the way it is coming up. But it all depends on the volatility of the crypto. That is, so when you say crypto, actually I mean it is cryptography. But these days people say crypto when they say want to when they want to mean the cryptocurrency. But cryptography is actually cryptography, not cryptocurrency. What is the future of blockchain technology in India? I don't know. This is unfortunately. I wish it is good. I can actually share one observation, that initially when we learned Bitcoin, and there is a group of influential community, they wanted to say, see, cryptocurrency is actually will go away. Blockchain will be there because it solves various problems such as supply chain, such as supply chain management, such as trading. And then these people are saying, even then today, the most important application of blockchain is still cryptocurrency. And if blockchain has to survive, cryptocurrency has to survive. If cryptocurrency is rejected by the people, blockchain will probably be rejected. But I'm amazed to see that blockchain is coming every day. Its popularity is getting bigger and bigger. How cryptography is useful in supply chain along with IoT. How cryptography, not blockchain. Your question is how cryptography, not blockchain. What is the okay? Okay. Future blockchain looks good, but nobody can predict. Only God can predict, and a fool can predict. Two types of people can only predict. I think that nobody knows. It's so complicated. Okay. Cryptography, see, supply chain has been automated. Supply chain used to be a long process. Supply chain used to be a long process earlier, but with blockchain, coming up blockchain, it is very fast. And blockchain inherently uses cryptography. That is signature scheme, hash function, these two. So that is how supply chain relies on cryptography, indirectly. Tejasvi Rastogi, back end of blockchain technology, like which language we use in blockchain. Okay. The back end for me, I'm not an implementer, but I'm recently got some projects, so I have to implement. My knowledge is Ethereum, right? My knowledge is to work on Ethereum. I know there are Hyperledger fabrics, and the only thing that I do is actually writing smart contract using Ethereum. And the smart contract is written in the language. What is the name of the language smart contract in Ethereum is written? Anybody knows? Anybody knows what is the language called where the smart contract in the Ethereum platform is written? It's slightly, okay, that is called Solidity. So I only know Solidity. Yes, I only know Solidity. There are various languages. So I implement, yes, Solidity, correct. I implement my blockchain applications using Solidity. That is how I am. I hope I would learn a lot of other platforms like Hyperledger Fabric at least, but it didn't come. Okay, so now I think I move on to something, a very technical part of blockchain. This is very motivation, why it is useful and why as a practitioner and researcher, I think that I will be able to create more applications so that this remains there forever. I hope that it will be there for a long, long time. And it is a wonderful technology, powerful, extraordinarily powerful technology that can solve problems. Okay, so let's now, half an hour later, let me spend on some of the blockchain constructs. Okay, okay, I'm now closing my chat window. So if anybody wants to talk right henceforth, you have to turn on their mic. But I would request everybody to turn off their mic because it's quite noisy out here. Okay, sure. Okay. So let me go into my next one. That is, okay, this one, blockchain basics. Yeah. So I'll immediately go. I know exactly what I'm going to do. So I'll immediately go to page 70. It's a huge one. So this is page 74. So all of you, what I'm showing you right in front of you is all about blockchain, and I'm done. Okay. Okay. So I think, yeah. So no matter what, if it is Bitcoin, if it is Ethereum, if it is Hyperledger Fabric, I take a high level view, and what I have actually, you can take a picture if you like, that this is all about the technology behind blockchain. This page 3, and that is there. So now I'm just trying to give you, okay, of course it is not, because in order to understand what is happening, you have to learn a lot. And I can actually tell you one story. I think that, I believe that if you do not have stories, you do not learn anything. The teaching has to be through stories. So in I have been kind of working on blockchain since 2008. We only heard of that because I am in the profession of cryptography, so we heard of it. Nobody knew. In 2014, I actively started working on blockchain because I liked the technology very much. At that time also, the entire business community was very skeptical, let alone the academic community. They could not realize the power inside that. But anyway, academic communities are always, none of the discoveries you can see that where the academic communities were able to read between the lines and understand how powerful it is. So now, then I was, in classroom, you teach a lot of things. You don't care about the application. So when I was doing research in blockchain, I have never realized I don't have so much wisdom to predict future. I only thought it is an interesting technology at least, so it is worth studying in 2014. And we used to, so then I started writing some of the teaching material so that I can discuss it with my students and as well. So then some of the people who wanted to ask me that, can you just tell me what is blockchain? Blockchain is a technology which is difficult. Face it, accept it, it is difficult to understand that how it works. It is not like a mobile application that you know just by playing with for a few minutes. So this is hardly technical, and I have seen that people are very excited when I talk about what blockchain solves, but all the excitement kind of fizzles out when I say that let us discuss the technological part of it, how to build a blockchain platform, because it is difficult. And most of the people, they started discussing and they never come back when I provide them with this picture. That's my experience. And they never come back because I say that, okay, gentlemen, can you just go back home and find out these technicalities and then come back after a week and we can discuss? And nobody came. And I can tell you that some of them are actually, professors and teachers in IITs as well. So I was very surprised to know that they didn't come back. Either they knew everything or they just found it slightly difficult because they are. So, so that is why, however excited you are about the blockchain, you have to understand the. Any question? Any question? Yeah. Okay.
परेशान हो जा रहे हैं उन्हें लड़की कहती मम्मी को मैंने प्रैक्टिकली नहीं की मैकेनिकल में इलेक्ट्रिकल में किया प्रैक्टिकल की बहुत जरूरत है
I think that again yeah, please yeah, audio off. Please mute the audio, please. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Varma. Okay. Yeah, okay. So now this is the picture. So now in any blockchain platform, what is the atom? The atom is called transaction. So there are two things. Although we call blockchain platform, although we call blockchain, but there is something called transaction chain. So this is the transaction chain. Transaction chain. And this is a transaction. And this
Bitcoin was discovered in 2008, November. 2011, I have plenty of blockchain platforms. Smart contract has become a colloquial, popular term and the household term these days. Satoshi Nakamoto never used smart contract. Okay, PPT I have now actually turned off. I can share later on. So can somebody tell me that what is the smart contract in Bitcoin? Can anybody tell me that did Satoshi Nakamoto write any smart contract? Because Satoshi Nakamoto is a very mysterious character as his discoveries. My quiz is, a lot of people talk about smart contract these days. That term was discovered ex post facto, very late, very recent term. Now, is smart contract a very new angle to blockchain or a new feature of blockchain, or Satoshi Nakamoto himself also wrote smart contract? If he did, what is the smart contract in Bitcoin? Remember, Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency application of blockchain. What is that? Can somebody tell me that? Did Satoshi Nakamoto write any smart contract? Then what is that smart contract? I want to just emphasize the point that all the smart contracts, chain codes, these kind of fancy terms that you hear these days that is associated with the modern versions of blockchain technology is actually all conceived by this guy called Satoshi Nakamoto, whom we still do not know who he is. It was there then, it was here. So it is not a new concept. If it is so, I have to say that Satoshi himself written one smart contract. What is that smart contract in Bitcoin? Voice is low. Mahesh Mishra, voice is low. I'm sorry about that. Tejasvi Rastogi, that is correct, but I want more specific answer that what is the, in Bitcoin, yes, what is that Bitcoin smart contract? No, not everything is smart contract.
The computer one and this is computer
No, that's
two.
okay. I think that high level idea is now we want to know the details. What exactly the smart contract of Bitcoin does. What is the
myself, Dr. Manijan, and we are starting the session now.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, I mean, if this is very important because at this time, since the technology is growing at an exponential speed, at a very rapid speed, people often often are not able to have the time to connection between various similar things. They think they are different, but actually they are very same. Smart contract is something, it was there in 2008, it is now in 2021. But sometimes people think that, oh no, this is something very new that was not there earlier. So that's what I want to say, that Satoshi Nakamoto wrote the first smart contract. And that smart contract that everybody is saying it is an agreement, it is a program. But what does that program do? That is my question. Sudha, Dr. Bhutada, it is a software code. I am not asking this. I am asking that what is this code doing in Bitcoin? What is that agreement? Especially, what is that agreement? It is an agreement between you and me that I will come to class and you will come to. I will teach Bitcoin and you will do your homework. No, this is not the. What is that exact contract that is there? Contract means agreement. There is an agreement. I am giving you one agreement. I have an agreement with a student. I have an agreement with a student that, sir, you have to come on time in the class. And I said that the counterwise, you have to come to the class at the same time. If you do not come, I will not also come. So this is called an agreement. What is that agreement in Bitcoin? You have to understand agreement because these are rules followed by all. What are that rule? That Bitcoin platform ensured. Hash function is the cryptographic component. Okay, I think that okay, according to me, in my opinion, not in my opinion, I'm sure about that. The contract was in Bitcoin is nothing but signature verification. You sign, I verify. That is the contract that was created by Satoshi. That is, I have a puzzle. I give you a puzzle. What is that puzzle? Give your signature. It can be different puzzle. Oh, well, Shashikala, you are going in a direction which is slightly deeper issues, segregated witness that. But I have a simple question that in Bitcoin protocol, what is that smart contract? That is nothing but that I have given you a puzzle. What is that puzzle? That puzzle is that puzzle is your public key. That is the question, and you have to give the signature because you need the private key to do that. Okay, so I think that is the whole structure of Bitcoin. So let us take for 15 minutes recess, and I will bring you with trading platform using blockchain in 12:15. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I think for the organizers it is still okay that I will actually I take my leave for the moment and I will come back in 15 minutes. Is it okay? The question is meant for the organizers.
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay, okay, all right. So I'll come back with my second session at 12:15. Okay, but I have to leave at 1:30. I have one thing to do, so I will try to speed up the process so that I can cover everything I wanted to cover. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.